Welcome. Take It Out with Jessica Lee. I am here with Grewal, who is the head of customer success platform at PayPal. Hi, how are you?
How are you doing, Jessica?
I'm good, thanks. Welcome to the show, Gurinder.
Glad to be here.
You are the master of the platform. I say the master. Love your beard. So I wanted to welcome here because you are in charge of the technical aspect of the operations for the customer success as far as the technologies involved. You got 500 engineers under you doing a lot of advanced like AI work, right? Tell us about it. What is it that you're doing at PayPal under the role of customer success?
Yeah, so a little bit about PayPal. As you know, the PayPal is about exchanging money between friends. That's how PayPal started. Then slowly expanded into how do we enable payments for marketplaces, our partners, and day-to-day activities. These days, you don't even realize that you're using PayPal. Let's say if you're in a store making payment through Apple Pay or Google Pay or Android Pay, behind the scene, you're using PayPal.
Okay.
So the scale at which we are doing business, it has grown significantly in the last 4 to 5 years, ever since our new CEO, Dan Schulman, took over the company. He actually came with a new strategy that it's not just about having PayPal visible as a yellow button on the websites. It's more about moving money from one channel to another channel at scale.
And you have like 400 million customers, 250 million who are active customers or users.
Exactly. And there's about close to $2 billion of money that's transactions are happening every day.
Every day, $2 billion.
$2 billion. And the fact is, when you build these type of platforms at the scale, when money is moving at the scale, there's going to be always questions people have about their money.
Okay.
Right? So no matter how great products, experiences you build, money is such a sensitive issue that when issue arises, you want to get the issue resolved right away.
Okay.
Right? There's a lot of emotions involved. It's not about going on iTunes, my song didn't play, you call Apple. It's a different story, right? When my $1 is missing from the transaction or somebody hasn't shipped my product because I already paid the money, I want to answer right then and there.
Okay.
So the role that I have is how do we look from the customer perspective, building the customer services experiences, which is blended into product experience. So it's about, let's say if you're shopping on some website or you're trying to send money to your friend in need and you got friction where you can't send the money. I need my answer right then and there. How you can enable me, PayPal can enable me to send the money right away.
That's when the consumers reach out to your customer success team of 36,000 agents.
Yes, right. And that has been mode of operation. Our primary channel has been you call us, you send us email. But if you look at the shift in customer behaviors, everybody is trying to use payment experiences on the mobile phone.
Yes.
I already know how to leverage PayPal products. So the journey that we are on is that rather than disconnecting from that experience and then picking up a phone and waiting on a line to talk to someone, human being, rather I want to self-serve the customers.
While they're in the app.
While they're in the app, they're in the experience. I'm in a mood to spend money or there's a need that I need to send money right now. I need to provide the help from PayPal perspective. We need to enable the customer to fix their problems right then and there. It's not like somebody ran into a problem, we just walk away from it. We want to hold customers' hand and get them around the problem right then and there. So some of the things that we're trying to drive is really how do we build capabilities that customers can self-serve themselves rather than waiting and talking to us.
Right.
And even when customers are contacting our customer services experience, we got to know what customer was doing. Okay. Generally, what happens is in a lot of customer services organizations, even with different vendors, you'll call customer services, they'll greet you with a name, then they'll ask you, how can I help you? But the pace that we are in today, customer doesn't want to repeat, how can I help you? You got to know what customer was doing with your products. So not only that we know what they were already doing, we know who they are, we know what their spending behaviors are, we know what their life cycle value is. So the idea is the seamless handover. I'm using your product. I ran into a problem. What's my seamless handover into customer services experience? So we can say, we know what you were doing. We know what problem you ran into. Let me show you a way around it.
Right. So like I can click on the live chat or live call.
It could be a live chat. Exactly. So click on a live chat or go to a help center where you can read through something, quickly get a help. But chat is something that generally, based on this text messaging behavior that we have, social media behavior that we have in the consumer community, chat is a preferred channel that we are seeing these days that our customers are gravitating towards. So behind the scene, what we are looking at is you have different channels, how you're contacting PayPal, you're contacting through phone, or you're sending us emails. Slowly what we're trying to get to is that either you call us on the phone, you have direct interaction, because there are customers who prefer, because customer choice is one of the things our CEO is always emphasizing on. So we want to give customer choice. If you do want to call us over the phone, you're able to do that. Or you should be able to send me a message saying, I ran into some problem, or we already know about your problem. We should be proactively reaching out to you.
Right. Call me back. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Call me back, or I'm using product experience as a customer. Something has happened. We already know something has happened, right? We can proactively reach out to you and say, hey, I understand you were trying to send money, but we see that your credit card has expired. Can you let me help you add the credit card. Right? So don't wait. Customer don't want us to wait. And we don't want to wait either to reach out to help the customers. So self-service is a big thing. And the main power behind is, how do we take these processes that we have in customer services space and automate them?
I take it you have a lot of AI, machine learning behind all this.
Absolutely. So I think it's an evolution in the technology space that has happened in the last few years. That across the industry, everybody is looking into how can we take these manual processes that we have, how can we automate them and inject more intelligence into it. It's almost like giving you the example I was giving you when customer calls us with a question, is understanding exactly what question is being asked, why is being asked, anything surrounding building the intelligence around that question. Just like you're asking me a question, and I'm processing as you're asking me the questions. But we want to build a system that can also do the same processing, but at much higher speed, at fractions of the seconds, and looking at broader data points.
That's right.
Right? So just like you asked me a question, is machine learning involved? There's only some thoughts triggering in my mind, right? The system can look at all the thoughts that could have possibly triggered in the human being's mind and answer your question.
That's right.
Right? So that's the type of system that we are trying to build. When question is being asked, how do you automatically actually figure out why a question is being asked? How can I best help? What information I need to pull out? And based on the past history, when we have served the customer, what were the best possible answers that we were able to give, or resolutions that we were able to provide? Learning from those best practices over time, and just getting training on those best practices and providing best possible outcomes. Because that's not possible when you're trying to do it manually, because every human being is different. The level of experience, the level of effectiveness is going to be different from human being to human being. So that's where you want to use machine learning, AI type of capabilities to do the automation and be consistent in how you're actually serving your customers.
And are you tracking the ultimate results, which is like the customer, maybe net promoter score or the CSAT?
Absolutely. There's a lot of signals actually you can monitor. Net promoter score is good, but it's a bit delayed. These days, there are signals in real time or near real time that you can get. For example, when you're having a conversation with the customer, no matter if it's a verbal conversation or written conversation, there are a lot of sentiments in the conversation. You can pick up a signal from the sentiments of the conversation. Okay, somebody called me with a problem. What are the sentiments after I was able to resolve? Did they calm down? What are the words of choice in the conversation? You can automatically look at the post interaction activities they are doing with your products. Did the number of transactions go up? If they were already trying to make a payment, they couldn't complete a payment, did they go and complete the payment? So there's a lot of signals that you can pick up without waiting for voice of customers. Even voice of customer, you can do in near real time. You can go to social media feeds and say what customers are saying about PayPal.
Up or down.
Up or down. There are complaints. Some people love PayPal. Some people just hate PayPal for no reason. Their product recommendations, right? So the point is building automations at scale, so that you can be connected with the customer in near time. You don't have to wait for certain events to happen, like Net Promoter Score. It's like it's a one-off activity. You go and then you do some surveys, you do voice of customers, then you find out, okay, there's Net Promoter Score has gone up.
Right. And I guess you can also measure over time how often do they use the PayPal tool, right? The application.
Exactly. So we are always one of the strategy we have is the way you can grow. You can always grow with growing your customer base, but how do you actually even engage? How do we become part of customers' daily life as they're making payments? And that was the example I was trying to give you. Like today, there's activities that we do throughout the day, and we are using PayPal without customer even knowing they're using PayPal. For example, when you take an Uber ride, the payment is made. One of the payment option is PayPal. So it's a seamless payment experiences, right? So absolutely. So the idea is not only to the consumers, how can you actually increase their engagement level? It's also what are the values that you're providing to the partners, to the marketplaces we're partnering with. You can also look at the value that we're providing to other businesses from partnerships and so forth.
Talk to me about the trends. I think that you had mentioned earlier how social media is taking on a lot of e-commerce involvement, and that's where PayPal can make a big difference in those platforms.
Absolutely. So I think social media is a new way of us connecting with each other. We are social animals. We used to connect in certain way. Now, social media is another way of staying in connection with each other. There's a lot of conversations happening. We always relied on this aspect of word of mouth. Like I want to buy something. I'm always asking somebody, hey, what do you think about this product? What do you think? I want to go to this doctor. What do you think about this doctor?
Yeah, so we ask our friends for recommendations all the time.
Recommendation. Yeah. Now you're on social media. You're interacting with your trusted circle. And then there are opportunities that based on those recommendations, you can actually shop. Right.
Like Facebook, for example,
so
Instagram.
Facebook is a perfect example. Facebook has a marketplace where as you're conversating with your friends, you can go purchase something, and behind the scene, you're using PayPal as one of the options. Right. So the new payment experiences are emerging. Another aspect is the world that we are living in. It's very hard for any business to do everything. For example, if I'm building a marketplace, even companies like Facebook or big companies, as they're building marketplaces, it just doesn't make sense for you to go build online payment systems, because this has become over time a commodity capability to run the business. The idea is not to go rebuild what has been already done at scale. The idea is to build experiences on top of it. For example, social media is a payment experience. Like Venmo is just that. Venmo is a PayPal company. The payment experience is not through clicking the buttons or tapping the phone. It's having conversations as you're interacting with it's basically social media experience.
Yes. When you go out and have lunch with friends and you have to divide up the bill.
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the value proposition of Venmo is that we want to take the awkwardness out of the payment exchangement. So if you went and had lunch with your friends, it's very awkward to say, hey, give me your portion of the money. So that's where the capability like split the bill and things like come in. The system is at doing that awkward thing for you.
Okay. What are some of the challenges that you're facing in moving forward this high growth area?
Yeah, I think main challenge is right now the way technology is evolving, we are in certain areas, it's okay to use AI. In certain areas, when you're directly interacting with the customer, there is a room for error in AI as well. So striking the right balance. When do you let the bots take over the conversation? When do you want the human to be taken? Because nothing is perfect.
Right.
Even AI is not perfect. So there's an example in our bot, we actually were issuing a refund to the customer, and customer was a bit skeptical about a refund, and our bot was responded saying, "Oh, I was happy that I helped you." No, it's not happy. It's because there was no human element in there. So I think those are the kind of challenges, or we are trying to strike the right balance. Where do you leverage AI? Where do you use human being to show the empathy with the customer and so forth? Also, another challenge is the mindset, the people, right? So there are opportunities where you can automate the processes, but in the end, it's all about people behavior, like internally and externally, right? So how do you change everybody's mindset? Because some of these technology trends are very new in the industry. They're unproven. There's not enough trust. Also, from the regulatory perspective, there's a lot of governance on where you can use AI, where you can't use AI, and so forth.
Like what?
So specifically, one area I can talk about is in credit. When you're actually issuing credit, like loans, personal loans, or the decisions that are made during that credit decisioning process, you can't simply just apply AI. There has to be a lot of transparency that how the credit decision was made. So one of the things, the challenge in AI is bringing the transparency is very challenging because you're feeding so much data into these algorithms. You don't know which signals are actually influencing your decision. You could do that. You can bring the clarity, but it's pretty hard.
I see. Because we want to make sure there's no discrimination.
There's no discrimination. It's like simple example, right? If I ask you, what do you think about this pen? You may look at 2-3 different things, saying color, shape, and the texture of the writing, and you can make a decision. Versus if I gave this question to the AI model by feeding hundreds of data attributes to the model, and then model gave me the answer how it likes the pen, I don't really have a clarity why model gave me this answer, right? Because it's a scale of the data that we are feeding into these models. It's very hard to pinpoint which data elements are influencing the decision.
I see. Fascinating. What's exciting ahead for your team and for the company?
I think exciting ahead is one thing that we are trying to solve for both our customers and for our employees when it comes to customer support agents is we are trying to take some of the simple tasks, the repeated tasks, and we are saying let's automate them. Let's put our employees to solve the problems that are complex, that really needs human logic, creativity, and so forth, because that's what excites us. Nobody comes to work to do the same thing every day, right? So I want to come to work. I'm using my logics, I'm using my brain power to actually solve customer problems. There's a bit of also I can build a relationship with the customer. Also now I can take on other responsibilities in the business, such as doing business enablement, doing sales and marketing, instead of just focusing on solving the problem. So there's a lot of opportunity in there, how AI can play a role. What's exciting is in the industry, this is a new space. There's a lot of vendors actually doing experimentation, how they can bring this technology into customer service space. So there's a lot of new things to learn, try, and one thing that in PayPal we are trying to do is we are looking at how can we set new industry standards in customer services space. So we are sitting on some key concepts that we're going to go and build that my true belief is going to be standard setting in the industry.
What are you not doing now that you would like to be able to do that you're working towards achieving?
Yeah, like I said, what we don't do today is a lot of these processes are very manual. We would like to automate as much as we can. There are examples out there. There are companies out there which take on 90% of the customer services activities, and they're all automated. They're all using AI and machine learning to respond to those questions. But the nature of the business and the culture in which they operate is different. So it's not as easy as doing that.
For fintech to do, you're saying?
These examples are not from fintech companies, but for us, that's where we want to get to. How can we actually automate most of these interactions? Ideally, how can we get to the place where customer, when they're using your products, they don't even have to skip a beat to get help. We are right there. It's almost like a concierge service.
Yes.
Somebody's observing as you're
very personalized.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That would be very nice for all cross companies.
Cross companies and the type of evolution that's happening in the industry. There's a lot to learn from each other. We talk to vendors on almost daily basis. It's amazing how these startup companies, they're coming and the ideas they're working on. But the biggest problem is nobody's really thinking end to end. Like, how do I solve complete problem? There's a slivers of problems people are trying to solve.
Okay. Well, exciting. I mean, I look forward to having you come back actually and share a lot more as you're rolling out some of these new practices and be able to share with the whole industry.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for being on the show, Gurinder. There you have it, folks. Take it up with Jessica Lee, Gurinder Grewal from PayPal.